So you got shafted on a banner, or a recent banner, particularly an anniversary banner that you were in particularly looking forward to. Alright guys, it's dokkan time, and today's video is going to be about grief. It's gonna be about depression, acceptance, and moving on. And what I mean is the actual 5 stages of grief is what I am talking about. But I'm adding a 6th stage. Yes, there is a level even beyond the 5 stages of grief. And we're gonna go over how you can slowly but effectively get over a shaft. Or, anything in life. You can also use these methods upon other things. But the first method, the first step of getting shafted is going to be denial. Yes, denial. Yes, the ever going stage of refusing to give up, thinking that maybe if I just do one more summon, maybe just another single, maybe just another multi, maybe another rotation, maybe if I just throw down a little bit more money, it's like, oh, it's gonna happen on this next one, it's gonna happen on the next one. You're just increasing your emotions. They're going overboard. They're getting extra just higher feeling. You start to get to a point of where you're kind of numb to it almost. It's like you just don't think it's real. Exactly why you say it's denial. You're denying it. You don't feel like that. No, that's bullcrap. No, that's just in the way. It's something you just don't feel like you can believe. But eventually, that denial, it's gonna slowly but progressively, eventually, turn into anger. Just pure, unadulterated, painful anger. Just pure anger. And you can't get over that anger. That anger just kind of boils up and it bursts up in a moment where you just want to chuck your phone, or you want to flip a table, or you just feel like you could go Super Saiyan in a flat second, or heck, even go beast mode. But my point is, all you can think about is how angry you are about it, because it just feels like you were denied. It seems unfair. It doesn't seem just or right. And the truth is it's probably not right. It's probably very unfair. And to be fair, that's life. Unfortunately, life is not fair. It's a very complicated thing, but you are not owed anything any more than the next person. You might think you put in more effort. You might have put in more money. You might have put in more stones. You might have put in more time and effort. But at the end of the day, life is sometimes a cruel mistress. And by life, I mean the gacha system and the RNG gods. They are very cruel. And you just have to learn to get over it. But before you can learn to get to that point, there is so many other feelings that you have to go through to get to that point. And once you can finally get past the anger, you start going into a bargaining phase. Yes, bargaining. Bargaining is the worst part. See, you think you might have been angry before. You think, like, that is your lowest point? No, being angry, that's not your lowest point. Your lowest point, truly, is bargaining. Why is that your lowest point? Because bargaining is when you're in pain to the point of where you're desperate. It's desperation. It's this eeriness to you. You just feel that you could just offer this one little thing. Like you're going to give a kidney or something, or you're going to sacrifice a small animal. Probably, I hope you don't. But the point is, what if? What if? That's the bargaining. What if I do this? What if I do this little ritual? What if I spin the screen around 5 billion times? Maybe all of a sudden. Bargaining. It's painful. It's almost worse. Bargaining is almost worse than the last step, because bargaining is just a small little fleeting bit of your hope that you're just giving into, and like you're giving the game, you're giving Akatsuki, you're giving up all of it. You're just giving it all up in the hopes for that little itty bitty dip of dopamine to hit your brain. But the truth is, once you finally realize that bargaining will not get you anywhere, you fall into depression. And that depression is very close to the last step. It's a form of it, you could say. You could say it is the opposite of the final step of grief. You could say it is the opposite. Depression is just endless, it feels. It could drag on for days, hours, weeks, months. It's something that just drags along your heels like your shadow. It just sits there. And the hardest part of depression is getting over it and finding a reason to get onto the final step. I could not fully define depression for you. I cannot, because depression is different for everyone. It is sadness, it is a longing for something, it is grieving all. It is all of these things all at once. It is a scary and terrifying feeling, as if life felt no meaning. But the truth is that eventually you can get over this feeling. You can get over depression. Depression is probably the biggest part that you sit in aside from anger. Anger is probably what you will sit in for 99% of the grief. You'll sit in depression for a hot minute, and then you might even just skip over bargaining and go straight to depression, where you'll just be so down that you don't feel like bargaining would matter. But the truth is, eventually, you'll let it go. You will let it go. And then once you let it go, once you let go of that depression, once you let go of that unit that you were longing for, that one thing you were longing for, and realize, I don't need it. I can go on without it. Once you get to that part, you finally moved on to acceptance. Acceptance is the goal. Acceptance is the goal. Truly it is. There is a step beyond acceptance. But this is what you should strive for. This is it. This is the point where you should try to get to the fastest. And that is acceptance. Where grief comes in waves, and it could feel like nothing will ever be right again. But gradually, the pain will ease and kind of just slowly dissipate away from you. And then you feel like you can finally just say, yeah, that happened. That happened. And that's okay. And I accept that. You can get over it at that point. And you can learn to move on with the rest of what your box has to offer. You can move on for what you actually got out of those shafted summons. Or anything in life, really. You just have to keep the things you do have. You just have to realize, okay, I have this at least. And then maybe one day things will be a little bit better. You just have to accept that things will eventually get better. Maybe not right away. Maybe you will pull that unit eventually. Maybe you will get that one thing you needed. And then, once that you are done with acceptance, when you've accepted all of that, you can finally move forward. Yes, move forward. Moving forward is actually the step 6. It is the final step. And it is all that everyone actually needs. It is moving forward to the next thing, to the next best thing. Maybe even by the time that you get on to the next thing, you'll have already gotten what you lost. The point is, is that you need to move on. That is the whole point of being shafted. When you get shafted, you need to move on. That is all that just needs to happen. You just need to move on. It doesn't matter if it's in dokkan or in life. If you get shafted, move on. Just move on. Go through all the steps. Go through all of the steps. It is fine. You can go through all of the steps. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with going through the denial. There's nothing wrong with going through anger. There's nothing wrong with bargaining. There's nothing wrong with depression. There's nothing wrong with accepting it all. But there's also nothing wrong with just moving forward and moving past all of that grief. Because it ain't worth it at the end of the day. You only got one life. You got a whole box full of units. Just go roll with it. But anyways, I just felt like making this video because it helps me move forward from the shaft of the Part 2 banner. And hopefully, just listening to this maybe helped you get over the shaft a little bit. It kind of helped me to move forward just by making this. I hope it helped you. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. It was kind of weird. But I hope you have a good day and a good night.